I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me today.
So I want to thank you for having us on your show. So a pleasure.
I wanted to ask you, in going into this album, with Vengeance being such a strong album, did you feel pressure in making this one?
Not really pressure because we work. Everybody works full
Hmm.
time, and just it's just a hobby, which takes a lot of time. But we do an album that we like, so we don't have the pressure to the next album to be more heavier or more successful than the other ones because we write songs and we agree on 10 songs for an album, so we will release it. And in the best case, people like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And after Vengeance was released, how long was it before you began work on this album?
Um, we are writing constantly, but after the release of Vengeance, we had a long year by touring. We played nearly 40 shows in Germany and Switzerland, which was very, very cool to support the album, which takes a lot of time, between
True.
playing live, having family, having jobs, full time. So during this time, every one of us writes songs, and then after the tour, we just sit down together and listen to the ideas for the next album. We have a lot of things going on, like with another member change again,
Mm.
um, because of time issues. Um, and then we start recording and pre-record the album, and then start the whole production now. So it takes from Vengeance to now. It's almost we have these 3 years we
Yes.
need between one album to making another album. Yeah, that's what it takes time for us.
And All Will Die not only opens the door to the album, but kicks it in. I wanted to ask you, when you create made this track, did you know in your head that it would be the opener for the album?
Not directly, but it was one of the songs, and when we listened to all our demo stuff, that we all agree, okay, doesn't matter what comes, this track has to be on the album. And so we recorded nearly 16 songs, I think, and we have to agree on 10, which was quite a war in the rehearsal room, figuring out which 10 songs will become on the album. But All Will Die was one of these songs where we all said, okay, this song has to be on the album. That is would be the first song, that it would be the title track that came out clearly at the end of the production.
Wow.
Yeah.
And one track I wanted to speak to you about is In the Name of God. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, when you created the track, was there a certain delicacy in your thoughts of how these lyrics could actually go?
Um, all the lyrics are written by our singer, and on the last albums we have always the second part of the album doing this Viking saga.
Hmm.
And after the last album, we said, okay, we have 3 records, always a Viking saga, so we have to stop this now because this is not what we are standing for the next song. We don't want to be one of those metal bands like Viking or Ships or
Right,
Mask on stage, because that's not what we are.
right.
So I think this time Charlie, our singer, just writes things that comes to his head.
Hmm.
And I don't know if he has particular sign to say, okay, I have to write a song like In the Name of God. Um, I don't know if there was a concept or something.
And Bending Calls is such a great track.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask you about the placement of the song because it has a separate feeling than the rest of the album. And I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, did when you were putting the tracks together, was it purposely done to put that last to give a tease as to what could lie ahead?
Um, yeah, maybe because this and in this album we have more songwriters than on the other albums. The first 3 albums, the most songs were written by our singer Shali and our former guitar player Cricky, who
Mhm.
left the band after the Vengeance tour because he had got no time for doing this anymore. And now I changed from bass to guitar, and our other guitar player, who comes more from a metalcore direction, and we also write songs now more or are more intense than on the other records. So the ending chords is just one of these ideas our guitar player Sebastian came up with. Um, and it felt like a strong song. And when we separated the 10 songs from the 16 songs, it was one of these tracks who said, okay, yeah, it just fits on the album. And maybe from the lyrics side, the ending chords, who could it be best song to be the last one on the album?
Sure.
No. We got a lot of songs that we don't put on this album who will surely become part of the next album, who goes just in another direction. So the ending chord is not something like, okay, the next album will more
Right.
sounding like ending chords or more sounding more modern, more metalcore or something. No, that's not the point.
And in the creation of the album, I wanted to ask you, what was the biggest challenge you came across in making this album?
Phew, the biggest challenge, I think it was to figure out the 10 songs out of the 16. That was, we have most of all, we have 6 or 7 songs that everyone said, okay, yeah, they are strong enough for that. They really fit together on the
Mhm.
album. Um, but on the last 3 or 4, there were long rehearsal times where we have to discuss.
Sure.
So at the end, our thinking was, okay, which 10 songs fits the best together for the record. And the other songs are not gone away. We
Sure.
keep all the songs. We have a lot of demo songs from the third album or from the second album who didn't make it on the records. We will work with in the next year after the touring for the Old Will Die album, and maybe they will be part of the next album. So I think that was the most challenging thing for the old record. And another one was that, okay, one of our main songwriter left the band. Then we
Sure.
have to change the drummer because of time issues. So we were lucky that our former drummer, our old drummer, just found time again and come back to the band. And as I said, I changed to guitar.
Yes.
That our first bass player who left the band in 2018, I think, because he was getting father then, just found time again and is back in the band now. So yeah, it was very time challenging, I would say.
And in speaking of the live experience, I wanted to ask you, what song are you looking forward most to playing live?
Um, for now, we got 3 songs from the new record for the upcoming shows because we don't have so much time to prepare more. That will be All Will Die. We'll play All Will Die because we shoot in a video for it.
Sure.
We will play Amok because it's just like a new side of Ignition
Sure.
with those more modern metalcore riffs in the verses. And of course, we played in Name of God because it's the most traditional metal song we have on
Sure.
this
Absolutely.
album. Yeah. Mhm. But in the future, when we are playing the concerts for next year, I think Under the Reign of a Psychopath, I would love to play live because it's
Yes.
just a heavy riffing, just a heavy song. And End of the Night will be surely part of the set for the next tour.
I wanted to ask you as well, if you could take me back in time and tell me how your musical journey started.
My musical journey. My musical journey started with, I think, with the Scorpions. No, and it was back in 99, 1990, I think, with the Crazy World record. No,
Ah,
I was 12, 13, 13 years old, and just listening to Metallica and Scorpions. And then a former colleague of my father just gave his whole vinyl collection to me. That
wow.
was a hell of a mess. It was Motorhead, No Sleep Till Hammersmith. It were Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath, Maiden. and so Halloween, stuff like that. So this was the beginning of my musical journey into heavy metal. And then my guitar player showed me all those Scandinavian stuff because he was a huge fan, like from guys like Yngwie Malmsteen. He
Mm.
showed me Extreme with one of my, which still nowadays is one of my favorite bands at all. Nuno Bettencourt is one of my guitar heroes at all. Saw them live last year, I think, for the third or fourth time. Was incredible. Um, yeah, and because my guitar teacher, he was just like every Saturday when I had my lessons, he get new CDs. So the week after, I can take all the CDs from the former week to get them home and listen to a
That's
lot of
great.
nice stuff. So, and that was the beginning, though. And we had beneath the metal scene, we have a huge hardcore and punk scene in my hometown. So I was very early. I was into metal. I was into punk. I was into hardcore. Our drummer and myself, we played in a hardcore band a couple of years ago together, doing like the old New York hardcore stuff, like Agnostic Front, Madball stuff. Played with the Agnostic Front, Three Souls. It was incredible.
Wow.
And yeah, so our our favorites are so diverse. You know, we have these all the stuff. The other guys, they all come from Duisburg, the Ruhr area, where Creator started, Sodom
Mhm.
started. Listen to the old stuff, and I think that's what makes Ignition 2026 because it's a mixture of all of these
Sure.
influences. So no, no, we don't care if we are traditional, if we are true or whatever. That's we give a fuck about that. You know,
Right.
if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, okay. Then
Yeah, right.
music is so
Exactly.
big, you know, choose your side.
And then speaking of this amazing album, I wanted to ask you, what is the best way to get a copy of this album and any merchandising that you have?
That's quite difficult because we have a label who supports us, who sell the CD on our website, where you can buy it on their website. Of course, you can stream it. I'm not a huge fan of the whole streaming thing, but uh, on this record, we have also a CD copy where you can buy at Daredevil Records. Um, and hopefully, we are still working on it. It's the first album. We don't have any vinyl yet, but we are working on a solution maybe to get vinyl for this.
Great.
I think for you, for the US, it's really, really difficult because if you go to the post office here in Germany and say you have to send something to America, they look at you and say, "Okay, you know about the tariffs,
You're
so
right.
the whole thing
Sure.
sending is double as expensive as the whole record." So
Sure. I try to tell,
hopefully in the future, or
yeah,
with a bigger label in the future, but it's quite hard because they don't sign that much. They don't sign small bands like us because we don't have the streaming points, or we don't have any Instagram. Or we have Instagram, but we don't put any shit we do on Instagram. You
right.
know, we don't wear uniforms, or we don't wear unicorn stuff
Right.
or something to make a
Sure.
fool out of ourselves, so anyone can step on our Instagram page. So hopefully for the next record, we find a way to release it more, to get it easier to get worldwide. But right now, I think out of Germany, also maybe out of European Union, the best way is to stream or to download it from our Bandcamp site. But a physical copy, it's quite, yeah, difficult to get.
I wanted to ask you as well, in talking about the album, do you feel that this was a great step for the band as far as your progression?
Of course, because we have in the last 3 or 4 years we have different member changes. After the first tour, I've joined the band in 2018 for a tour for
Hmm.
the first record, um, which is quite a funny story because I used to play with my former band with Ignition, and all my people got sick. So I went to the show without playing, just to know the
Hmm.
guys. And I think a week or 2 weeks later, they played another show near my hometown where I went to. And after the show, I called Shali, the singer, and I said, "Hey, man, I forgot to buy a patch for my vest." And said, "Oh, that's cool. We need a bass player for the tour in 4 weeks." So, okay. So I stepped in for the bass player doing a tour with a German band called Moto Jesus. It was like the 20 shows, 70 shows, I think. So that's where the first member change was. And then during the years, with every album, we have to join new members. A former guitar player who helped out a lot of times tragically dies in 2019. Um, his stepbrother is now a guitar player. He's not
Wow.
stepbrother, his twin brother. Sorry, his twin brother is now a guitar player, which is um, so yeah, from every album to every album, it just became a bit different. So on
Mm.
this album, I think it's the biggest step for us to say, okay, we are not more into this whole traditional stuff. Um, so we are maybe more open-minded to for influences like from thrash side, from the modern side. I think the whole production is more modern than on the other records. So this is maybe the biggest step we did on this album, I think.
And as a fan, I love the album Vengeance. And when I got to hear this album, immediately and upon hearing the first couple tracks, it just got me right away. And I think, I see the progression in the band as well as you do, and I love it. I love the way the band is going, and because in my opinion, you know, Vengeance is a 9 out of 10 album,
Oh, thank you, man.
and to hear this and to sit here and say this is actually better than Vengeance to me as a fan, and
Thank you very
I
much,
couldn't
man.
wait to talk to you about the album because of that.
Oh, awesome. This is such a big compliment, for the because we didn't have the aim to say, okay, we have to do a harder record, we have to do a
Mm,
more thrash record. It just was like something natural that happens, We
sure.
listened to the first tracks and we were say, okay, they're not this traditional stuff. Okay, it doesn't fit to any Viking stuff we do, all the harmonies we have
Mm,
on the second part of Vengeance, for example.
yeah,
Um, and this is quite hard stuff. This is more thrashy stuff. This is more modern stuff. But you know what? Fuck it. If this
right.
is what we are today, and let's go and make the best record we can do right now. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
And in closing, I wanted to ask you if you could give a message to your fans, what message would you give them?
One message, just support the underground. Well, there are so many great bands. We're playing some
Absolutely.
cool festivals in the future with bands we know from our own tour last year, over the last 2 years. Small bands who did or put out awesome records. Um, just and don't say, okay, I'm into traditional heavy metal, so I don't listen to
Right.
kind of this sucks. One of my favorite records is at the end of Heartache from Killswitch Engage, and I step from Killswitch Engage, and then I listen to Yngwie Malmsteen or Scorpions. Or,
Sure.
it doesn't give a fuck.
It's
You
all
have
rock and
so
roll.
many. Yeah, it's all rock and roll. So don't limitate yourself for this. No, you listen to the band, support the underground, spread the word worldwide. No, and this
Absolutely.
is this is the best thing what you can do if you're into heavy music.
And that's what's exciting to me now being an older gentleman because back in the 80s, we used to pass cassette tapes and we'd
Yeah,
record stuff and go, hey, have you heard of these guys here?
yeah,
Check it out, and
yeah,
we'd pass the word that way. And
yeah.
now it's being passed through the internet. Like I told you, I was brought to attention from Europe about this album. And, as much as I love Vengeance, I wasn't aware that this album that came out. And I was so happy to hear it, and I love, my fan base getting back to me, hey, check these guys out and stuff, because it really opens the door to a lot of great music.
It's the internet is like the old tape trader times. I
Sure.
notice I'm from, my birth was 77, so I get the last years of tape trading by
Mm,
myself. Just recording stuff, doing tapes, sending tapes to
yeah,
people. And now, okay, now you're spreading YouTube links or whatever.
sure.
So it's not that kind of heavy metal romance like in the past, but that's how it goes today.
Sure.
So, and listen to a lot of great bands, and it's through the internet. I found someone called Rick DeLozier
Mm,
from North Carolina who came up a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, he dies, I think, 5 years by cancer, I think.
wow.
And he said, I found your old band and I want to have you have to sing on my record. I'm in Germany. Yeah, no problem. So we made a record together. He was
Wow.
in North Carolina, I was here, and we did a record and an EP together. It was so amazing. No, and all those people from there just go on the side of my band and we are still in contact. And that's what heavy metal is about.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me on the show, man. It was awesome. So, that's why we are doing this. You're sitting in Ohio, I think, huh? It's Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're 6 hours behind, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and we can talk like right now about heavy metal, about the things we love, all the music, and
Absolutely.
that's so incredible, man.
It is. Well, thank you again. And I look forward to the next chapter. Please keep in touch with me so we can talk about the next chapter, my friend.
We will. We will.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.